Policies that could destroy the US economy could be in the pipeline. Check it out. Venezuela used to be one of the richest countries in the world, and one thing that led to their downfall was the government starting to go after entrepreneurs, people with businesses, particularly ones selling food and other goods. The government was saying they were greedy, charging people too much, so they forced price controls. And here's what happens when you force price control. When you control the price of something, the supply disappears. In finance, there is a very simple concept that determines the price of anything: supply versus demand. Imagine this. Imagine the government imposes price control on bread, making it illegal for bread businesses to charge more than $1 for a loaf of bread. What happens next? So long as demand for bread stays the same, everyone just buys all the bread in the store. It's never in stock anymore. The bread companies aren't making a profit. They go out of business. There is a shortage, and then there's no bread. Very simple. In order to decrease the price of something that is in demand, you need to have a higher supply, a supply that can sustain the price. When there is a higher supply of something than there is demand for it, the price can be decreased without a problem for the most part. But when you artificially change the price of something, it always affects the supply when there is demand for something. That's why in communist countries you see a bread line. People standing in line for bread. Why? Because there is not enough bread for everyone, so it's rationed out. Are we about to suffer a similar fate here in the United States? Harris to propose federal ban on corporate price gouging in food and groceries. What's crazy is even a mainstream media company that endorses Democrats can see and shares with us the writing on the wall. Wow. Even the Washington Post is running opinion pieces slamming Kamala Harris's communist price control proposal. The article title reads, "When your opponent calls you communist, maybe don't propose price controls." It's hard to exaggerate how bad Kamala Harris's price gouging proposal is. Great. Another basic economic concept that relates to supply and demand is this. Let's say there is no price control on an asset that has a relatively fixed supply, like real estate, not making any more of it, right? And then the government decides to give everyone who can't afford land $25,000 for a down payment to buy land. So what happens? There are more buyers in the market, demand increases, and guess what? There are more people bidding on land, and it drives up the price. Land gets more expensive, and at the end of the day, the policy makes land more expensive and more people can't afford it. Is this another similar fate the US could suffer soon? Harris proposes $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time homebuyers. Is it a good idea? Some experts say the Democratic presidential nominee's plan would only make the affordable housing crisis worse, while others say they like the idea on its surface. Oh, but what if price controls are instituted on housing, so certain houses can only be listed for sale for a maximum of $150,000? Well, when a bunch of people are bidding on it and the maximum price is reached, how do we decide who gets the house? Soviet Union. Get in line, get in the queue. Maybe if you're lucky, you have a contact or someone you know, and they can help you skip the line to get a house. If you don't, get in this 10-year-long line to maybe get a house before you die. Great. Here's the deal. Something like this just drives the price of housing up $25,000 while also increasing the national deficit. More inflation.